Good morning. Welcome to the Bobby Moore stand. I'm Gary, and I'm a little bit depressed. So I'm doing it's an emergency live show, and this will be the last bit of content that I put out this weekend. Well, any of us put out this weekend. I think last night was a straw that broke the camel's back. I've got to be honest. We're going to talk about it. So I'm just not letting West Ham steal another weekend from me. I mean, I went up to Sunderland last weekend. That used the whole of Saturday. Spoke about it the whole of Sunday. Was ill all week because I caught flu up in Sunderland. Just about got over it in time to go to the game yesterday. And yeah, Chris ended up in hospital on the way home from the game last night as well. So he's fine, by the way. But it's not important enough to let it take over your health like that. To be honest, it's football. It's not life and death. There was no anger inside the ground last night. I noticed just acceptance, just tepid acceptance. There was a little round of sacked balls, but it was half-hearted. From where I'm sat in the new seats, the posh seats, if you like, lovely view, cushioned seating. Surrounded by tourists, literally more tourists than you've ever seen. Literally nobody knew the words to Bubbles. That's where we are as a club. Down the Bobby Moore end, thank God I've still got tickets in there because I'll be going back there. You know, Martin and the Ironworks Alliance, they were working behind the scenes before the game to get the atmosphere going, just like they did against Lille. And for the first 10 minutes, honestly, the noise from the Bobby Moore low was fantastic. Truly fantastic. When Paqueta put us one up, I mean, obviously inside you're thinking this ain't going to last, but we enjoyed the moment. We enjoyed the moment for sure. When they got the equaliser, which I predicted because we can't defend corners, we have three centre-backs who can't head the ball. It was inevitable. A very, very soft goal, just like all the soft goals we conceded at Sunderland. 1-1. Then we go 2-1 up, at least we thought we did. The place exploded, limbs everywhere. And that was the end of our fun. That was the end of our night, I'm afraid, because Chelsea just then, frankly, could score at will. Every time they went forward, we fell to pieces. I'm not going to bother going through doing player ratings or any of that crap, because what's the point? What's the point? I'll tell you just one thing. Malik Diouf had a good game. Malik Diouf. He ran the length of the pitch to cut a ball out, which no other West Ham player on that pitch would have done. And that says it all, really. That says it all. There's no leadership on the pitch. There's no leadership by the touchline. By the way, Potter's, 30 yards away from me now, 20 yards away from me now. Probably. It doesn't make for happy watching. The guy's emotionless on the touchline. Not that I want a raving lunatic, but I want someone to at least, I don't know, look a bit upset when we get him spanked on the pitch. As soon as we concede a goal, this is so similar to the Lopetegui period last year, where the players will reluctantly buy into a system until they concede a goal, and then it's like, not my fault. They're all looking at each other. Not a single person taking ownership, responsibility, or giving any form of leadership on that pitch. They don't give a toss. They're playing for themselves, not for the shirt. Anyone that doubts that, get along and watch a game. Yeah. Or don't. Half time, went out to meet with, group of friends that I know. We've done this half-time thing out in the smoking area for as long as I can remember. We've got Jackie out there. We've got Nigel King, Rob Banks, we had Martin and his family, Chris and Fred last night. Big group of good people who follow West Ham, pay good money to follow West Ham, have done for bloody years. I just said, when's the last time we actually had a happy half-time talk out there? Because I can't remember. I can't remember when it was. It's been a bloody long time, a real long time. Um, there's something terribly wrong at this club, and we know what it is. We know what it is. It's the ownership for sure, 100%. I've suspected. I said at the beginning of this transfer window is all I want from the Gimp is for him to back the manager. He hasn't backed the manager. In fact, he's done the opposite of back the manager. He's undermined the manager's authority because now you can see from the reaction of the players and the way they're playing for him or not playing for him that he has no authority. Don't you think they know that he had no choice but to bring Callum Wilson in? Don't you think they know that KWP was brought in by Sullivan? Hermansen, this is the keeper we couldn't get the ball past at Leicester last year. He looks like a shadow of himself after 2 games. 2 games. 8 goals conceded. 1 goal scored. It's our worst start to a Premier League season ever. And you know what else? You know, you saw Brady last week cooing about how far the club have come under their ownership. Oh, look at this wonderful, great stadium where us legacy fans can sit, pay a fortune, and get surrounded by tourists. Yeah, brilliant. From between 2000 and 2016 at Upton Park, we'd conceded 5 goals at home on 1 occasion, and that was a 5-3 loss to Man U. It was actually an all right game. Since we've moved into that place, we've conceded 5 goals on 8 or 9 occasions in 8 or 9 years, right? This is a regular occurrence now. It's a regular occurrence. Irrespective of the manager, this is what happens. Graham Potter's done. He's toast. And that's because he's been completely undermined. He's not been backed. And also, he hasn't helped himself. He hasn't helped himself. I was trying to make excuses for him when it came to the likes of Ward-Prowse. And again, this is not a character assassination of Ward-Prowse. I don't hate players. I never do. He does what he's capable of doing, Ward-Prowse. But what he's capable of doing is it was really encapsulated through one move in that game yesterday, and that was when he burst out of defence with his chest puffed out, carried the ball to the halfway line, came face to face with a Chelsea player, stopped and passed the ball 90 degrees left, 3 yards to another player. That's what Ward-Prowse brings you. He's got no legs. He can't help it. He's that age. No other team in the league would have paid 30 million for Ward-Prowse. Nobody. No other team would have paid 15 million for Danny Ings. No other team would have hired Callum Wilson. And again, I'm not having a go at Callum Wilson. He's gone where he can get a job, right? And he's decent money if you get on the pitch every week. And he tried hard. Exactly the same as Danny Ings tried hard, because they will, wouldn't they? They were good once, but they're way past their best. So you've got to ask yourself, why are they playing for West Ham? Well, the reason they're playing for West Ham is because someone's getting a little earner out of it, aren't they? Doesn't take a genius, does it? We all know this is going on. We can't prove it, but we know it's going on. I just think that what's happening at the moment is Sullivan has delayed this window and Potter is a patsy. Potter will stay professional at all times, will not criticise the owners. He'll be under strict NDA anyway, so he still won't be able to have a go at the owners once they leave. You know, you've never heard an ex-manager turn around and slag off the owners because they can't. They get sued. That's the same with Potter. He'll have his hands tied big time. So no matter what they do to him, he won't be able to talk about it. The most he could do is what Kirbishley did that time under the Biscuit Barons and, you know, walk away and claim constructive dismissal. But probably his contract's so tight he wouldn't be able to do that either. You know, they can do what they like to him, and he can do bugger all about it, other than talk it up and make out everything's all right. Everything is not all right. Everything is disgraceful, an utter disgrace. He has no idea. And I'm going to go back to why we're in the Lopetegui situation now, where it's system over players. Lopetegui insisted on trying to play his system. when he didn't have the players to play it. Again, that was a manager that Sullivan brought in, and not even he got the players that he needed. He didn't get the striker he needed, right? You remember? Well, this is what Potter's doing. He's trying to create this system that he likes to play without the players to play it, and it's suicide. With basically, by doing that, you give the instructions to the players. They've got an easy out, right? They as soon as they can see the first goal, you can see the blood drain from their cheeks. They just give up. They give up. They're all looking at each other. They're all expecting the other person to take the man. You know, I don't want to have a go at Fulkrug, but Fulkrug was renowned, very well known for not picking up his man on a corner. And that was his big weakness in the German league. I think he even did it in the Champions League semi or final or something, to concede a key goal. That's his big weakness. So relying on him and expecting him to buck that trend and do something different is at best naive, at worst reckless. James Ward-Prowse being the first name on the team sheet every week, I've reconsidered this, right? Because what seems to be happening, there was this. I was told this thing about James Ward-Prowse is very popular with the team, and when Lopetegui screwed him over and moved him on to Nottingham Forest, that led to the initial upset in the dressing room, right? So the first thing Potter did when he came in was to bring Ward-Prowse back, and you're thinking, well, okay, that's a good idea. Maybe it'll boost team spirit, but then he starts picking him in every pre-season game. And people are saying, "Oh, he's his first name on the team sheet." I'm going, no, of course he ain't. It's just until we bring other midfielders in. Don't look like we're going to bring him in, by the way. And then he carries on playing him. No matter what, Ward-Prowse starts. No matter what he does, no matter how much we get overrun in midfield and leave our hapless back three exposed, he gets picked. I noticed the other day he sits next to Bowen in the changing room. He's obviously, every video you see, he's Bowen's best mate, and he clearly. Now, so that goes from being the right thing to do in bringing Prowse back to give the lads a bit of a lift, to being scared to drop him just in case it creates the same problem that Lopetegui created. And that's where I think we are. That is where I think we are. That was no surprise last night, what happened. It was just a tragedy. It was a tragedy in real time. It was disgusting. I think a lot of West Ham fans, look, it's easy to just write a manager off and just write a team off and say they're fucking useless. I go to games, so I'm going to try my best to get behind the team always, even now. But you got to call it as you see it, and we'd never be dishonest with you. We thought if Potter got back in and got the players he needed, he might be able to do a job, because he ain't been given a chance to do a job so far. But fact is, he's never going to be given those players, and therefore he's never going to be successful. And it's clear that he's going to carry on playing his system no matter what. He's played it all through pre-season, played it in the first two games. He's going to carry on doing it. And when you make mistakes like you've got three centre-backs, two of them are left-sided centre-backs, you take a right-sided centre-back off when you go to a two, and you leave the two left-sided ones on. So you leave a left-sided one playing right centre-back. You just wonder what the hell is going on there. What the hell is going on? It's a disgusting state of affairs. Chelsea took their foot off the gas. Make no mistake about that whatsoever. They stopped playing at 5. They took their best players off. It was a walk in the park. They could have got 10 if they wanted to. Literally every time they went forward, every time they go, we conceded 3 from corners. They had 5 corners. 3 of them led to goals. The keeper's confidence is on the floor. He's gone from being worth 15 million to probably 2 million in a week. Must feel great. He must feel absolutely great. Again, the guy we could not get a ball past at Leicester last year suddenly looks like that. Nobody's taking leadership or ownership. They've torn the soul out of this club, and now they're trying to finish the job. So Potter's got to go because he's not going to get the back in, and clearly the players are not doing what he wants them to do. They don't like his system. Same old story as last year. Lopetegui syndrome. He's got to go. He's in a death spiral. He's repeating the same mistakes week in, week out. He obviously has favourites, which I hate from a manager. I genuinely hate. Players should be judged on what they do on the pitch, not on who your favourite is, really. This is what Brady's message was about last week, really, I think. And that is, we know it's going south, but we're going to stick with him. We're going to stick with him until the transfer window's closed. Then we'll sack him. So they'll sack him after the Spurs defeat because we're going to get humiliated by Spurs at home. Caduce is going to have a party on our own pitch. They're going to score 5 or more against us. It's going to be painful, really bloody painful. We're not going to get anything at Wolves. We're definitely not getting anything at Forest next week. I mean, my God, when I said we might not get any points from the first 8 games, I weren't joking, because it spooked the life out of me, that Sunderland game last week, because what I saw in that second half was the Lopetegui team again. And that is the team that can get trounced without putting up a fight. Very similar players as well. Very similar players. It's taken 2 games to turn people like me, patient people who go to support the team, into wanting to see the manager gone. Not because I think I don't know if he's any good. Honestly, I don't. He don't appear to be. But then again, Lopetegui has never done as badly as he did at West Ham. He's been a half-decent manager elsewhere. What does that tell you? Potter has never done as badly anywhere else as he's done at West Ham. What does it tell you? So I don't know if he's any good. We'll never know. We'll never know. But one thing's sure, he's got to go. And if the solution means bringing in Sullivan's favourite, Sean Dyche, or someone like that, no one's going to get a tune out of these. No one's going to get a tune out of these players. They're genuinely not. What's going on, though? What's actually going on? Because why are we spending no money? Why was Potter bought in, and why was he not backed in the winter transfer window? And then we had to wait to sell Caduce, which I think is an excuse, by the way. I don't think it's real, because this week we had to sell Alvarez before we could buy. That is just running the window down, I'm afraid. It's running the window down. Meanwhile, all of our rivals are signing players that we've been linked with. This is why I hate doing transfer shows. Literally everyone I've spoken about, almost, has now been signed. Even Douglas Luiz is going to bloody Forest. So what's the point? What is the point in doing transfer shows and trying to get people upbeat about it? What is the point? What I think they're up to here is it's a convenient way to just put the final nail in the coffin. I think they're welcoming relegation because, you know, in the Premier League, it's great to get the Sky money, but you have to spend a lot of that Sky money on players. I think they're stripping this club down and readying it for relegation when they can sell every last remaining expensive asset, including Jared Bowen and including any talented kid we've got. There will be some kids that we can use for a little go at the at promotion, but that's why the likes of Callum Wilson are here, right? That's why Ward Prowse is here. It'd be good in the Championship as well. That's what we're doing. We're building for the Championship. This is managed decline, West Ham style. So we can go down and they can promote themselves as heroes again, as being the ones that stood by the club, had to sell, had no choice but to sell every bloody decent player we've ever had. That's what's happening. The only ones who called this out, by the way, that I've seen anyway, across the media, was Jamie Redknapp last night. He said, literally, we've spent nothing. Now, you know, in the Premier League, you've got to spend to stay competitive. If you've got to do a squad rebuild and you spend net zero like we've spent at the moment, that is asking for relegation. If they do what I think they're going to do with him, and that is stick with him until people get angrier and demand his head, and then suddenly get rid of him. When the window's shut, we're in shit street. By Christmas, we could be on single digits. We'll already be doomed. And we won't be spending a load of money in January, I'll tell you that now. And I think those loans that were put as they remortgaged every bit of property we've got, quite big loans, I think about 140 million. think that money's there literally to keep us going after relegation. Got to be honest. I also think that the club is in a terrible mess financially that they're not admitting. They're blaming PSR. Who created that problem? Because when you do the PSR calculation, it's not only players you buy, it's players you sell. We make a loss on every player. Who's benefiting from those deals, I wonder? Yeah, because the club might be losing out, but there are intermediaries who are benefiting from those deals, selling great players cheap, right? So here we are. Next game is the next home game, I think, is Spurs. I'm not looking forward to it. It's going to be awful. But this is a live show, and you lot have left a load of comments. That's really all I wanted to say on it. Let me know what you think. So I'm going to start going through some chat messages. Sorry, this is short notice. I don't expect to get many people watching this, but we've got 250 on here. Surprised. Thank you for joining. I realised I first of all scheduled it at 11:15 p.m. tonight, and then got told you've done it nearly midnight, Gary. So I changed it to 11:20 at the last minute. So I'm going to do my best to cover as many as I can. But look, I don't get angry with this sort of stuff. Honestly, it's fucking depressing. It's really depressing. I take it personally. And so does, every single person out there at half-time yesterday was taking it personally. You could tell. No one was ranting and raving about it. But yeah, look, let's look at some of your comments. Bear with me. I'm doing this on my own. And yeah, we're a joke. At least we had an idea it was coming apart from the gaslight. Yeah. I mean, we all did. Amazing news to cheer everyone up. Bloody hell. Yeah. I'll probably get to that amazing news in a minute. Yeah, the Moyes lovers coming out to order. Who cares? I mean, look, let's brilliant. That is fantastic news. Like I said earlier, it's West Ham. It's not life and death. That's amazing news. WHO saying 95. Your big sister has beaten cancer twice. That is incredible. That's the stuff that really matters, mate. Really is. Congratulations to sister. Fantastic. That cheered me up for a second. It really did. That's great. Potter got to go. Yeah. Well, otherwise we're getting relegated. I think we're getting relegated anyway. I don't think anyone can come. Who can turn this set of players? It's such an unbalanced squad. Without signings, who can turn this set of players into a winning team? I don't know. Maybe someone who sits back and absorbs. That ain't going to bloody work, though. It ain't going to work. We don't tackle anymore. No, we don't. We really don't. Boycott the ground. I'll tell you what I would do is what I'd love to do, because I thought it was effective and I saw it in the flesh once. When I went to Newcastle a few years ago, they hated Mike Ashley in the same way that we hate this lot, right? They did a really, really effective campaign, and that was to stay outside the ground for the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game on live games. That meant that the Sky Sports team who were doing the commentary, they had to acknowledge it. They literally had to acknowledge it. So I wouldn't put it past this lot coming up with something to say. If you don't get into the ground early, they'll take your season ticket away or something like that, because they would, wouldn't they? But it's like when they threaten to take it away just because you don't go to a game, you wake up ill one day and you make a habit of it, they can take it away. I mean, literally, they don't give a fuck about us. Don't want to see Herman Munster in goal again. He's shockingly, yeah, that's how he comes across. I feel sorry for the guy, to be honest. It was awful. The first 20 minutes was brilliant, but always in the back of your mind, Cat, you're thinking, ain't going to last, is it? That was before we saw Chelsea start running us. I mean, look, even AWB yesterday was responsible, I think, for the first 2 goals. He was awful. Tadibo was awful. Kilman, awful. Aguerd did better than them all again, but he can't head the ball. Neither of the 3 can bloody head the ball. But they're being completely exposed by the midfield. We still haven't seen those 3 playing with a decent midfield in front of them. But I think it's worse than that. I think you need, we've been saying this for a while, a proper dominant central centre half in the three to take control of those Muppets, right? But what's the betting? We got that player. He'd still play two left-sided players at left and right back and drop to deep. But you know he would. You know he would. I've lost faith in the geezer completely. We need to give the team time to gel. Yeah, but what do you mean gel? I mean, there ain't that many new bits. Is there really? Agued's played for us before. This ain't new surroundings for him, and he's doing all right. Kilman and Tadibo, they played most of last season. AWB was hammer of the year. Malik Diouf's new, and he's doing well. So he's not taking time to gel. In the middle, you got Ward-Prowse, Suchet. They don't need time to gel. Greeder don't need time to gel. Jared, no time to gel. The German, they're the same. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. And I hate going negative like this. You know I do. But Ian Holloway, well, at least he'd be entertaining, wouldn't he? He's one of those that I actually like listening to. He talks a lot of sense. I think he'd get the West Ham crowd, but you know what? Because these managers have got to come in and preach the gospel according to Brady and Sullivan, that's the contract they signed clearly. They're not allowed to be critical. Not one fucking manager in all these years has been critical of those owners. I don't think even Bilic was. And he got well and truly screwed over. So, yeah, Potter got his keeper and he was shit. Well, apparently not. Apparently he wanted Suzuki. He was like, Amanson was like second, third on the list. He wanted Suzuki. And plus, a keeper is no good unless they've got a decent defence in front of them. Having said that, I agree with Claire. He needs a rest before he is completely destroyed. His confidence will be on the floor already. He's making it hard. I've tried to defend him. I've tried to find ways to defend him, ways he's thinking. He keeps fucking making it so hard. He's giving me, I've got nothing to defend anymore. What can I do? That was flaccid last night. We just bent over and said, come on, Chelsea, score some goals. You think I'm a lucky charm? I've been West Ham games many times. Well, you need to go along. I'll give you a ticket. Don't worry. I'll give you a ticket. His formation and tactics were never going to work playing a Manson before giving him time to train. That's the thing. Manson only played one game in pre-season, apparently. He's literally had no pre-season and he's been thrown into the team. It's another bad decision in hindsight. He's helped to destroy the confidence of what was supposed to be a good keeper. JWP, he absolutely does nothing wrong. That's his game. But it's not a Premier League standard game anymore. It isn't. Anyone can see that. Literally anyone. Might be different if you had legs around him compensating for JWP. If he just does that recirculate shit that he does. But when it's the core feature of your central midfield, that's no good. That's no good. I don't rate Potter at all. He's inherited a poor age school, zero confidence, and the habit of losing heavily. Yes. Is Potter the right man? No, I don't think he is. And I don't think there is a right man out there. And this ain't about me slagging off Potter because I genuinely don't know if the geezer's any good because he ain't been back. So how can you judge him? He's using Lopetegui's team plus a new keeper and Malik Diouf. That's it. Well, it's actually not even the whole of Lopetegui's team because he ain't got Kudus anymore. Michael Carrick, is he a big enough character to come in and manage all those egos and turn them into... I don't know. Not so sure, mate. Not so sure. Might be good in the Championship. I don't know. We'll find out soon. I don't want the previous manager, despite leaking goals. I honestly think we were playing better football under the previous manager, but he wasn't my choice either, nor was Potter. Yeah, well, I don't think any of them... I mean, look, the thing is, when we're going looking for a new manager... we fix our sights on this little group of managers who are out of work because that's where we know we'll be shopping, right? It wouldn't surprise me if there's already another manager lined up and we're just running the window down so that Sullivan doesn't have to spend until January. But it could be all over by then, right? You take Allardyce. Honestly, I don't know what he'd do with this lot. I really don't. Allardyce wouldn't come unless he got a couple of year contract. And you know what happens with Allardyce, right? But the thing is, the Allardyce period, it had its moments. I didn't mind it. At least he knew how to score goals. We'd definitely signed some decent players in January for sure. But that's it. My worry is that it'll all be over. It'll all be over by January. We're not getting any points from the next 8 games, I don't think. You look at the fixtures. Where are the points coming from? Tell me. I can't see it. Yeah. No connection on the pitch between the players. Well, they turn into individuals the minute they lose. They're like all together trying to deliver the system. They were pressing well yesterday, everything. They go one up, they concede a goal. We scored that second one, but basically the minute we conceded that goal, the defense start looking at each other, right? It's terrible. You take any manager, well, someone with a spine. What use is someone with a spine? I mean, you wouldn't say Allardyce ain't got a spine. He got fucked by. You remember we were 4th at Christmas, and Sullivan, he wanted to sack him in the summer. He told everyone after the transfer window when he spent nothing that Allardyce was going in the summer. So the players and Allardyce gave up. We ended up finishing 14th. That's how much he cares, and that is a manager with a spine. You can't say that Bilic, for instance, wouldn't have had a spine. He's not a passive geezer, but you can't say Moyes don't have a spine, and definitely Lopetegui. He was a nutter. So when you say spine, I don't think you could be a Premier League football manager. He was a successful Premier League football manager once. That's why he got the Chelsea job. You can't do that without having a spine. See what I mean? Yeah. Wolves could, I mean, look, what's going to happen? Wolves could batter us on Tuesday playing the B-side. We'll play our B-side. We'll play a load of kids. We'll get our asses smacked. You know, thanks for modding this morning, Claire, at short notice, by the way. When Sullivan made himself a director of football and was totally in control of the transfers, there was only one outcome. And here we are. Yeah, because he has... You know, when the director of football came in, it makes me wonder what these other shareholders are doing. What is Kretinsky doing this morning? What are the Gold family doing this morning? Are they patting each other on the back, saying how well it's going? What's Trip Smith doing? Because if you bring all of those shareholdings together, they've got more shares than David Sullivan, right? I think they've got a majority between them. What the bloody hell are they doing? They're sitting on their hands. I know the daughter of... I can't remember the one, because one died, didn't they? The remaining daughter of David Gold is being basically coached by Karen Brady, business expert Karen Brady, self-created business expert, by the way. She speaks a good game, didn't she? She struck a great deal with that stadium, didn't she? That stadium that nobody else wanted, and I think she got in the House of Lords for helping Boris out, frankly. It's all a little bit of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. What is it? Baroness Brady of Knightsbridge. Dear fucking God. Okay. She's superb, she is. We ain't staying in the league playing this way. No, we're not. Of course we're not. Thanks. W saying good news about your sister, by the way. Brilliant. Martin, we lost 5-1 at home with no fight and not one yellow card. Yeah, fact. The Dwarf doesn't pick the team or formation. No, but he picks the players who are available to be picked in the team, doesn't he? It's an important contribution. Fact is, he got manhandled many times last night at Falkirk. I think he had a facial injury when he went off. He must have, because he got bashed everywhere by Chelsea. Who's the option we got? Callum Wilson. Nothing against Callum Wilson, but why is he the option? Why? We need El Nesri and Kanouse before the end, and El Kanouse. Get as many L's in as you want, right? I don't think they're going to help if he is the manager, unless he gets every piece that he needs. I mean, the central centre half, right? He needs a Dunk in there. He needs a Lewis Dunk in there. I said this a few weeks ago. People said no. I mean, this is Salthouse has shown us graphically how to destroy a football club by helping position Lopetegui, helping to position a bunch of unsuitable players. You know, Chris, I'd rather get a season ticket to watch them at the training ground where seemingly spirits are high. The players will love each other. Potter needs to walk now. He's not pushed. Yeah. So Chris is joining me in the aboard the Potter out bandwagon. Honestly, you can support someone until you can't support them anymore. And I was ashamed. I was ashamed with what I saw last night. Absolutely ashamed. The ref was crap. He did give everything to them, and I was sure that was before their second goal that Paqueta was fouled. But at the end of the day, once it gets to 5, you just think, oh, God. Kent says, I went last night, same as you, and the number of empty seats from the start of the game was a massive indicator of how the fan base feels. We are so sure we're about 4 first-team starters short. We are at least 4 first-team starters. I think we need 2, maybe 3 midfielders because you've got to have cover. I think we need another centre half, and we need to get rid of 1 or 2 of those, right? But I'd play Mavropanos over Kilman, over Todibo any day of the week. He's got a mistake in him, but these players make fucking mistake after mistake after mistake. They lose their head. The one thing Mavropanos brings you is he does not lose his head. Can't get a kick. We crumbled. Talking of crumble, Rob Banks, West Ham author, right? Probably not his best work, but let me read what he sent this morning. It's a recipe for West Ham crumble. West Ham crumbles serves 62,000. Take flour and fat, take all the fat and pocket it. Rub it up the wrong way until it forms some unholy mess. Take anything nutritious and replace with rotten fruit. Bake until every bit of goodwill is evaporated. Serve cold and tell everyone you tried your best. That's a recipe for West Ham crumble by Rob Banks. Beautiful. So what was this one? We crumbled as soon as our second goal was disallowed. So much for having a bonded team behind the scenes. Yeah. Yeah. They don't give a toss, honestly. They don't give a toss. Who are they kidding? Make as many videos as you want. Marketing team, doers. They don't care. They don't care. You can tell when players are hurting, when they're really fighting for the badge. You can actually tell. And believe me, I'm so close to the damn pitch now. I can see the expressions on their faces. Right? I saw every goal in clear fucking. I couldn't have been in a better position last night. It was awful. It was awful. I saw every time AWB and Todibo got beaten on that side in the first half. It was 5-10 yards away from me. Aguerd played for us a few seasons ago when we conceded 80 goals. Was one of the worst centre-backs I've ever seen. He's come back and looks just as bad. Well, look, I think he's come back and confirmed he's not suitable for the Premier League. Surprise, Kel surprise. But then I suppose Potter's point of view, he don't know the player. He's come back in. He's looked all right in pre-season. He carries the ball out the pitch. Didn't realise he can't head the ball. Do you remember when those little chips were just going over? He kept misreading them. They were floating over his head. Oh, dear God. 3 centre-backs who can't head the ball. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Yeah. Sorry, let's go down a few comments. Not Paul. It's my cousin. Players can't get off lightly either. Not one player got angry. That's exactly what I just said. They didn't. And the only player that showed a sense of urgency was Callum Wilson. Yeah. 100%. Did Chris do a vlog? Oh, no, he was right not to do a vlog when he could see this coming. There we go. I told you so, career in. I thought you rated Potter. I never said I rated Potter. I said, got to give Potter a chance. I did believe that with backing, that would have been his chance. He ain't been backed, but because he's not going to be backed, he's got to go. What's the point? Because he's never going to get his chance, if you see what I mean. Yeah. But look, I told you so. Brigade will be out in force because we chose on this channel to just go to games and support the team. I thought that's what you did as a fan. But again, like we said the other night, I think everyone agrees with this. You can support a manager until there's nothing to support anymore. I've literally got no defence of that last night. I can't help. This is, to me, almost inevitable. Sir Gareth Southgate, the younger version of David Boyce. You can hear the spin now from Karen Brady. Yes, we've come such a long way. We've got the former English manager, the only England manager to get the country to a world final in since 1966, and we've got him at West Ham. That's how far we've come. Yeah, there you go. Coming to you on a radio sometime soon. Right, let's. needs to hell with his players. Yeah, well, I don't know where they get Allardyce. Yeah, look, there's a lot of people doing that. And I think you're talking about Ian Holloway is in a job at Swindon. We'd have to pay Swindon off, cost about 35 quid. There's no way we're getting him out of Swindon. Sullivan does not pay for managers. You know that. You know that. I ain't doing this for very long, mate. But thanks for the offer anyway. What I want to do is put West Ham behind me for this weekend and crack on. Right, let's see who else we got. Sorry if I've missed a load of your comments, by the way. Let's go for Mandy. Gary, can we afford to sack Potter now? It costs what, 50 million to sack him and his team? And no, I mean, he's on a 2-year contract. His contract runs out in the summer. So I don't know how much he's earning, but it'll be the remaining wages. He would do what he did at Chelsea and just sit at home and collect the money. He wouldn't go get a job somewhere else, in which case you can stop paying a manager who's left. For instance, Lopetegui got another job, so we didn't end up paying him off properly. It was actually turned out to be a good deal. I mean, I said a few days ago that I thought what was going to happen here is he would get the window done and then not give Potter support. He would invariably get sacked because just look at the start of the season. We ain't winning many or any of those games. It won't be long until there's a reason to sack him because we've lost so many games and it's been embarrassing statistically. It already is. 5 wins in 20. I think the worst manager statistically ever in West Ham's history. Yeah. Wish people cared. Yeah, thank God we sold Alvarez. I broke my rule last night, by the way, and I watched Gio on the way home on Hammer's chat, and I agree with everything he said. To be fair, he actually came up with this idea of sack him now because we've got 9 days of the window left. We might be able to recover the situation. That is literally the only way you recover this situation, because we're not going to sign all the players Potter needs to rejuvenate that side. We might get a midfielder or something like that. We're not going to get all the bits he needs, so it's doomed to failure. And he's shown he's pretty much a one-trick pony who's in a death spiral, and he's going to carry on trying the same damn thing, even whether it fails or not. So yeah, that is the only feasible way for it. But Sullivan will not do that. If he sacked him today, he wouldn't hire a manager until there was 2 days of the window left. You know it, right? That's why he won't sack him until the window slams shut. And then he'll make a couple of loan signings or something and hope for the best. Hope that Potter brings up, he will sign. I always said that Sullivan, the last thing he wants to see is West Ham relegated, because that is, the big money maker. It's the big gravy train. It is, but you've also got to spend a lot to survive in the Premier League. So you might get a few 100 million coming in, but you've got a few 100 million going out. If you cut it to the bone, which we've been doing the last 2 seasons, just let a load of senior players go, for God's sake, right? And now we're cutting it even further. We will cut it even further if we go down. You can imagine the run rate, the remaining cost of delivery, if you like, of that team is going to be pretty low. Pretty low. We're not going to go down like the Titanic. It went down slowly, didn't it? I think we're going to drop like a fucking stone. This could be the quickest relegation ever. Quickest and worst. 5 relegations, I think, in my life. I think 4 of them were a battle where we really put up a fight. A couple went down to the last day. I think there's been once where we just fucking sunk. We sunk without trace. This could be one of them. Mandy, we have to stay with Potter, and Sully needs to get 3 players, 2 mids and a striker, because we need to. Honestly, if between now and the end of the window he brings in all the players he needs, I agree with you. But so far, I've got to say, he's not being backed. There's no sign of him being backed. And what's the point? You've got more faith than me if you think that's going to happen. I do not think that's going to happen. I wish it did. That was my plan, that he would get backed, and then we could see Potter and evaluate him on his merits. But instead, Potter's now doing what Loppy did and trying to deliver his system with half the players. Potter out is not the answer. The players we have are shocking. Yeah, absolutely they are. But at the same time, you got to say, it's him who's putting the team out. It's him who's choosing the leadership on the pitch. It's him who's organising the team like that. It's him who's picking those players who are not giving their heart and soul. There's a lot of other players in terms of youth players who would give their right arm for a go at the first team, but they don't get a chance. Mavropanos can head the ball. All Mavropanos did last night was look magnificent, warming up along in front of me. That was it. That was it. Nothing else. Didn't even have to break a sweat. Cannot get cannot get a kick. Chris, forget the 3-5 at the back. We need a flat back four, which is what we said the other night. We said we needed to go to a 4 the other night. We got opened up like the Red Sea with that formation. It doesn't work. Yes, it doesn't. But that is his choice of formation. You hope he'd be a bit pragmatic and say, right, I don't have the players to play my system. I've got to play this other system. We would call him 4-2-3-1, expected 4-2-3-1 yesterday, to make it a little bit difficult, a little bit more compact, and play with conventional defenders to so that people can hold their position. Wan-Bissaka, for instance, can do what he does really well and be a one-on-one defender. He was still statistically the best one-on-one fullback in the league last year. Moyes' management style isn't great, but I'll take him all day. Surely you guys are having back in a heartbeat. Quite honest, I don't care who we have. I'll support whoever we get now and give them a good chance. I feel like we're at the point where I've given this geezer a good chance. Potter hasn't got his players, but as a good manager coach and apparently a good man manager, why do we have a team that runs onto the pitch, has got no grit or determination? We are soft. They have when they run onto the pitch. It's when they concede a goal. They fall to pieces like a cheap suit. Any manager would fail at this point. That is my honest belief. With this set of players, they would. I don't think he's had a chance. I don't think Lopetegui had a chance. Yeah. Potter's always been a fraud. Well, he wasn't, because he did well at Brighton, and he didn't do bad at Chelsea as well. So when you say fraud, our club is in an awful state. And look, yeah, of course, nothing will change. I like to think if we got relegated, that there'd be some, again, I don't want to say I'd welcome administration, but you know what I mean? Because I don't think they'd let that happen. I think their first priority, because they see relegation coming, is to protect themselves and their investment. You would never think that this is a football club with the primary purpose of playing football, would you? It ain't got a primary purpose of filling the owner's pockets. But then again, that's what, I guess if you look at it strictly, running, that's what a company structure is all about, right? It's about looking after the shareholders. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're not looking after the customers, they're looking after the shareholders. People saying that fans handed Moyes out because we lost last night. At the end, Moyes was reportedly offered a contract, but he didn't want to relinquish control. Yeah, look, that's sort of ancient history. I mean, he divided the fan base, Moyes, didn't he? Some people liked him, some people didn't. I think the best of all worlds would have been after Prague, he could go out on a high. We could even build a statue of him. He'd go a hero. We'd look back on his reign as a glorious reign of David Moyes. Instead, look what happened. A year of demise. To be fair, if Potter's under pressure now, what would it be like 20 games in? It'd be a nervous wreck. Be no ginger ale left. There's hardly any now. Been a West Ham fan since 1968. I'm sorry, Barry. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, bloody hell. There's another bid. 67 for Dougie. Sorry, Dougie. Sorry, mate. Right. So, yes, Randy, we're loving it. Right. Can't stand the ownership. None of us can. There ain't a single person that likes the ownership. Not one. Put your hand up in the chat if you like the owners. Stand up if you like Sully. If he hasn't been back, then we're already down. Yeah. That's my thing. He isn't being back, so what's the point in keeping him? I think he's been undermined in the dressing room because those players that have been brought in. No one knows. It's bloody obvious. People talk, right? We could play 4-6-0 formation and rely on JLP. Honestly, if we played 10-0 formation, we'd still be vulnerable at the back and unable to defend across. Yes, this is what I think. Two midfielders, a centre half that can lead, and a dynamic, quick striker. Yes. Yes. That might give him a chance. Where is Emerson? Sunning himself. Not getting anywhere near the team. He's going back to Italy, isn't it? I mean, Kudus, Paqueta, Alvarez, nothing last season. Why should it change with worse players? No, I know. Exactly. AWE clearly showed last night he isn't suited for the wingback role. Well, no, that's what Harry said. But then he played last season as a wingback and got hammer of the year. So I don't agree with that. I think he was just awful last night. You're allowed an off night. Very rarely do you get an AWB performance that goes below a certain level. So I ain't having a go at him. Oh dear, right. Let's go down to a few more. I'm going to go on for a few more minutes. Here we go. We got a Sullivan backer. Look, I think Sully is the best ever chairman to exist in football. We should back him more. Yeah. What else? Carlton Cole. Honestly, he was saying everything he was allowed to say, but it ultimately is what he said was, we need more players, and that ain't happened. Must be so difficult when you're an employee at a club to want to say stuff and you can't. Seriously, Allardyce could do the job, or he gets. Yeah, we could get Nuno Espirito Santo. I like the name, right? I like the manager as well. Chris feels like Ian Bill having a breakdown in front of Phil Mitchell this morning. Keep your head out the toilet, Chris. Oh, Phil. With the present ownership, I honestly don't think there's any point in changing the manager. Well, yeah, part of me thinks that. If you're not going to give any players, if you're going to run down the transfer window and then bring a new manager, what's the bloody point? Unless you're going to back him in January, or you're going to play the same trick again of just taking forever to sign. The only way it could work is you get a manager in, and that manager, as part of their deal, says, same as Moyes. I see why Moyes did it now. I have the final say on all signings. That has got to be 100% a prerequisite for a new manager, right? Rob Green. He was on with Jamie Redknapp as well. It points to one direction. It's the owners. I've been there since they took over. Even Rob Green gets it. Yes. Yeah, I know you did. I know you were having a laugh. I took it in that spirit. Parasitic owner. Yeah, it's always been the issue since 2010. They've been here 15 years. 15 years. We know this. It's nothing new. Been going on about getting them out since they got here. What manager, Gary, if you had the choice, would you take tomorrow? I'd take Nuno. If the Greek don't want him, let's go and hire him. Him and the Greek don't get on. It's quite funny. They really don't get on. But that Greek, like him or loathe him, he's put his money where his mouth is. Genuinely. So he's got to say whether you like it. I know Forest box, someone who's got boxing in Forest, they support the Greek entirely. The tactics just don't work. The players don't fit the system. We need a pragmatic man, or not another pragmatic manager, but you're right. We need someone who can come in and use whatever players we've got to fit whatever system they fit in. Hi, Rob. How you doing? Saw you last week up at Sunderland. Sorry, mate. Hope you're well. Potter baffles me. His default formation 3-5-2, 5-3-2 doesn't get the best out of Bowen, who got AWB's way last night in the first half. No, it doesn't. It destroys Bowen, and having him as captain destroys Bowen. Take the captaincy off him, for Christ's sake. I don't want to do it, but he never should have got it in the first place. Let's be honest. Bring in someone who steps in like Granit Xhaka at Sunderland, takes the armband. Take that fucking assistant captain away from JWP as well. Forget that. Nuno won't come to us. Him and Sully would get on like a psychotic ex-girlfriend. Yeah, it's probably true, actually. Right. What has bombed us is that amazing rebuild after Moyes' 150 mil rate wasted. Yes, it was the worst rebuild ever. In fact, we signed so many bad players, both under Moyes and post Moyes under Loppy. We know how to waste money. We genuinely do. Nobody wastes money like us. We take it to a new level. Ange Ball. Oh, can you imagine? We win. That's fucking hell. We could win a game 11-8 or something. Imagine if we had even less defence than we had last night. Oh my God. I think I had a nervous breakdown. 9 managers in 15 years, 12 in 110 years before that. Yes, that's what they've brought to the club, Paul. That's what they've brought to the club. Amazing, aren't they? They stick with managers, said Brady last week. We always stick by our managers, said Lady Brady of Knightsbridge. Glazers out. We're pushing unwanted Ramos, Hoyland, Anthony Santos. Don't need him getting. I don't know what this is about. Lucky Singh. It's right above my head. I don't know. I don't know. Help me out. New manager gets 100% power. Well, they've got to. They've got to. The sport in West Ham is a constant misery. Yes, it bloody is. Oh, yeah. Well, he won't work with Sullivan. No one really works with Sullivan. Sullivan just looks at people as resources, people that he can tell what to do, things that he can tell what to do, and they do it. That's how his life works. Well, it wasn't blind faith and only positivity ever. If you watched the shows, guess what, mate? You should have buried your head in the sand and tried to pretend everything was fine. Did I? Did I ever do that? Or are you a bit of a tosspot? I think you're a bit of a tosspot. Thanks anyway. Thanks for writing. Write again soon. Right. Getting shot at Soufal, Fabianski, Cresswell, Antonio, whilst lowers our average wage, leaves a lack of strong character. We're only nice guys and pussies. Yeah. Yeah, we do. And somebody said that actually. John the KC said to me, losing Soufal was a big mistake. Cresswell was really important in that dressing room. We knew it. I think he's got rid of everybody who's a kind of leadership character in that dressing room so that he can be the leader with a load of passive people. If that's man management, then I don't know what man management actually is. I mean, that is not man management. That is weak management. Rob. So, to the end of the season, caretaker, Bilic, Pardew, Canio, Bagram staff, Keane, Potts, Robson, Noble. See, the thing is with that, you could do that. It could work. All the fans would be happy. They'd be flooding back, paying their money, buying shirts, doing everything, right? Guess what Sullivan would do next? He'd orchestrate a way so that they failed, like he did with Bilic after we moved ground, gave him no money for Europe. You know, then we lost Payet, who was the mainstay of the previous season. Losing Payet, by the way, that showed everybody that if you stamp your feet and refuse to play at West Ham, they'll just sell you cheap to someone. And it's been repeated time and time again since, most recently by Kudus. Stop playing, you get a move. Brilliant. I'm 53. I've been a fan of West Ham since I was 3 years old. 50 bloody years, Brian. I'm doing the maths. I've seen all the good and the bad at our club, but this owner is the worst by far we've had. Yeah, by a long, long way. And we know they've always been a bit crap. Terry Brown, a lot of them, right? They've always been a bit kind of Kearnses. The Biscuit Barons were the one I like. Oh, no, he wasn't the owner. It was the fraudster, the bloody hell, the banker, Landsbanki. He owned Landsbanki, the Icelandic bank, didn't he? That was one of the first victims of the 2008 financial crisis. We ended up with bankrupt billionaires. Only at West Ham. Only at West Ham. 2 midfielders, whoever they are, Gary, won't change a thing. It's exactly what I've been saying, Andy. Exactly. Yes, I think that's right. He does want sheep. He wants good little lads who just do as they're told. And as soon as they get a bit of a raised profile, this is why, truth be told, they sold big name players as soon as they got good at Brighton, because he can no longer manage them. That's my guess. Noble could be an idea. Well, it's an idea. It'd have to be Noble with someone, wouldn't it? If we need someone good in the dressing room, just sign Bonnie Blue. Yeah, God. Top it off, Spurs will beat. Yeah, of course they will. And they'll batter us in a couple of weeks. Kudus will score. He'd be looking for a stall. There better not be a stall around that pitch, because he don't want to be sitting on a stall. Then it could turn nasty, right? I quite liked Eggy. Eggy got us. He tried his hardest. He was big in biscuits, you know. He's in the digestive industry. He was top notch. He was top draw. You know. I bet their kind of trade fairs are really good. The biscuit industry. Go along there. I bet you get a load of freebies. Loads of freebies. I like the Icelandics before they went kaput. Yeah, me too. Oh, right. She's probably sponsored by West Ham Bonnie Blue. Yeah, she could be actually. Right, I think that's it. We've been going an hour. Cheered myself up a bit, to be honest. Talking to you lot, thank you for that. I still want him out, but I'm not going to get myself down about it. I'm now going to ignore West Ham, all television coverage and everything for the entire weekend. I did me player ratings on Finalysis last night. When you get battered, it's really difficult to rate players and write something about them. It really is difficult to leave your emotions behind, but I did. Anyway, here's what it is. Kearns, crap. Terry Brown, crap. All right, yep. Enjoy the holiday. I have got 2 weeks off. I don't want West Ham to ruin it. I'm gonna leave you with, again, because it's strangely apt that I played this the other night, I Don't Care by David Sullivan, Canning Len. It's so bloody true, isn't it? It's so true. One more thing, Vaz. I think you're being unfair to players like Pyatt and Caduce. Look at the players who've signed after leaving Upton Park. No, I don't think I am. I don't think I am being unfair to them. They've both demanded to leave. So as soon as you demand to leave West Ham, you're dead to me, right? I'm not going to say nice things about them. They can fuck off. I'm totally biased. Have you not noticed? Totally biased. Anyway, look, don't let West Ham ruin your weekend. Another bloody weekend. Let's just look forward, see what happens. Hopefully something happens. Who knows? But until next time, I'll leave you with Canning Len's I Don't Care. Come on, you on.
Hey Goldie, what's on today's to-do list?
Why, it's match day, Dave. Are you hoping for a full house tonight?
Not too fast. As long as we sell all the tickets. I don't care if you come down here.
Make more money for the tourists here, so I don't care if you come down here.
Nathan Bellavic's got a boy for the night. His ex-missus said you better treat a kiddie right. Buys a kid a ticket and a burger and a Sprite. Got a train home, 200 if you like.
Cause I don't care if you come down here. Cause you make more money for the tourists here, so I don't give a monkeys if you come down here.
Not from when a pocket took a bully in the water. Never lost a rumble, but he can't get sore. Climbs more stairs than he did before. What's his old seat, then he's got to pay more.
Cause I don't care if you come down here. Cause you make more money for the tourists here, so I don't give a monkeys if you come down here.
Because the cabbie only goes to football with his wife. He did it as a kid and he's done it all his life. But he don't get a winter fuel allowance anymore. So he's gonna sell his ticket to a pub for Singapore.
I don't care if you come down here. Cause you make more money for the tourists here, but we don't give a monkeys if you're here next year. I don't care if you come down here. Cause you make more money for the tourists here, and I don't care if you come down here.